Hello, welcome to another video. Still at G's, still in G's location, still using G's camera thing. Okay, so I'm here for day number 2 of 7 days of top 7, which is the like weekly video thingamajig that G is hosting, so I will obviously leave links to her thingamajigs down below. And today is Tuesday, and today the prompt is thought-provoking books. So here we have 7 thought-provoking books. Now for me, thought-provoking doesn't necessarily mean really serious content matter, doesn't necessarily mean like it's changed my life, and I think when like G announced it, she did say that didn't have to be what it was. It could just be books that made you stop and go like, huh. Which is more for me what it is. Heads up, I may repeat things like now, tomorrow, the rest of the week, just because I haven't got like the most extensive library in my mind, so there may be repetition, but you can cope with that. Alright, so let's get cracking. Thought-provoking books. Number 1, Annihilation by Jeff Vandermeer. Bet you didn't see that coming. Annihilation is like one of my favourite books ever, and it's so weird and like confusing. You kind of have to stop and think about it. Like, probably not everyone's cup of tea, that book, for sure, but I loved it. And there's not really much else to say. It made me think. There were moments in that book where I was like on the edge of my seat with anticipation of what was going to happen next, and I didn't understand anything, and I had to like think and put things together and work out why things were happening and what that meant. And then throughout the series, like, things got put together and made me think. It was thought-provoking, that's the point. I say it all the time with Annihilation, but it's like my one book. If you only ever read one book that I recommend, make it that one. There you go. Number 2 on this list, I have The Raven King, which is the last book in the Raven cycle. That for me is thought-provoking for the reasons of when I finished it, I had to really stop and think, what am I gonna do with my life now this is over? I love the Raven cycle from start to finish. The Raven Boys was like an incredible book that inspired so much within me, and I enjoyed the series like from start to finish. There's definitely like problematic elements with it. I can understand why maybe not everyone would, but I do, and that's what counts here, isn't it? But when it was over, I mean, I had such a massive break between Blue Lily Lily Blue and The Raven King because I couldn't bring myself to finish it so quickly because I loved it so much and I didn't want it to be over. So when it was over, not only did I have to actually process the fact that it was over and how it ended and how everything wrapped up, but I then had to actually consider what I was going to do with the rest of my life now that I didn't have any more Raven cycle to read. Number 3 on my little list is Vasa in the Night by Sarah Porter. This book, I feel like not a lot of people give a chance. It was from, I got it in an owl crate, but it was also in a fairy loot last year sometime. And I know that at that point a lot of people were like a bit meh about it, like no one was giving it the chance I think it deserved. When I read it, it really surprised me how much I enjoyed it, but there were a lot of moments where I did have to stop and be like, excuse me, what? Because it's really weird. I have done a book babble on it, like where I kind of explain a bit more about how weird it is. If you want to go and check that out, feel free. But it's really weird, like swans and dogs and witches and hands and stuff. And you do kind of have to take a second sometime to think about what you're reading, why you're reading it, and where your life is going. But at the same time as all of the weird stuff that's happening in there, there is also like an important underlying message that is thought-provoking about growing up and moving on and loss and grief and stuff. So as well as the weird shit, there is a serious message in there as well, which is also thought-provoking. So here's my little note that if you haven't given Vasa in the Night a chance, I think you should. Drink my tea that G made me. Tea. Number 4 on my list is Go Ask Alice by Anonymous. Now, I don't actually even own this book anymore, and I read it a really long time ago, but part of the prompt for thought-provoking books that G had put down was like books that you still find yourself thinking about sometimes, and Go Ask Alice is definitely one of those for me. It's written, now I'm not even entirely certain like what the story behind this book is, because it's written from an anonymous point of view, supposedly of Alice, but anonymous, because it's like a girl's diary through her life of being bullied and getting involved in drugs, and all sorts of really terrible things happen to this girl. And it's from her diary perspective, and it's definitely thought-provoking because it makes you consider like how someone's life in the beginning of her diary can be so ordinary and like perfect, and then at the end of it she dies terribly. And the like points throughout her life, it's such a roller coaster of up and down, and it really makes you think about how someone's life can really fluctuate and end in such a terrible way. Very thought-provoking book, but yeah, I'm not sure. I heard it was like based on a true story and it was a girl's diary. I'm not entirely sure how accurate that is, or if it is fictional. Not entirely certain. If you know, let me know. But yeah, definitely a thought-provoking one there. 5 on my list is Tess of the dUrbervilles by Thomas Hardy. This was a required reading for my English A-level, and it's kind of hard to do an English A-level without thinking about the book that you're reading. So I spent a lot of time thinking about Tess of the dUrbervilles. dUrbervilles? dUrbervilles? I think it's dUrbervilles. Yeah. I spent a lot of time thinking about that book, writing essays about that book, rereading that book, because, you know, I had to write a paper on it. Also, the content matter of that book is quite thought-provoking as well. It deals with like class issues and industrialization and rape and religious culture and all sorts of things. As all classics do, there's lots of messages and morals and things in it. But yeah, Tess of the dUrbervilles, however you say it. Number 6. The 6th book I have written on my little list is Alice in Wonderland, or Alice's Adventures in Wonderland by Lewis Carroll. This wasn't necessarily a required reading, but I did do a paper on it for my A-level again, and it was about innocence in youth in classic literature and how Alice is youthful and innocent, but how she also isn't, and then the like background behind Alice in Wonderland and Lewis Carroll and how it came to be. Very thought-provoking, really made me look at Alice in Wonderland in an incredibly different light to how you would expect one to look at it. Like, it's a children's fantasy. Is it? But yeah, not gonna delve too much into that one, but Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. And the 7th one I have on this list is Illuminate. I feel like I mentioned Illuminate in the last one. I did. See? Repetition. Illuminate by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. This I've put down as thought-provoking because it's incredibly futuristic and makes you think of what the world may eventually be, and how the artificial intelligence within the book plays an incredibly active role and obviously isn't human, he's still an AI, but it kind of starts playing God, and it makes, or at least it made me think of like the potential for a future where that could happen, and there could be like robots and artificial intelligence and stuff that have more power than maybe they should. And you know, what does the future hold for us? Is there going to be like massive intergalactic wars like in that book, or is everything just really blown out of proportion for what the future may hold? I don't know. Thought-provoking. There you go, there's 7. I was gonna say 7, that's 5. 7 thought-provoking books in my opinion. As I said, I'll leave the link to G's channel, video, whatever's about down there, so you can go and check out the original videos from her, and then in her comment section follow the train of like following people's links to everyone else that's participating in the top 7. I'm gonna leave it at that for today. I will see you tomorrow for another list of 7 somethings, and yeah, I will see you then. Give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. Chat to me down in the comments if you aren't subscribed and fancy subscribing. I'm always eternally grateful for that. I upload every Sunday and Wednesday and some odd days in between if I'm feeling generous, like today. And I will see you next time. Bye!